It was good, Fusion here, back from the video. And today I just want to go ahead and go over all of the trades and who are the winners and losers of the trade deadline, as well as who should have made some trades, um, and also just my predictions on a few of the trades and how they're going to go. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, we got the Boston Celtics and the Rockets. So the Rockets will receive Dennis Schroeder, Ennis Freedom, and Bruno Bruno Fernando, as well as they did waive Ennis Freedom, and well, the Bulls got Daniel Tice again. Pretty much, Houston is dog. They're just not good. I don't think any of these players are really going to change Houston. As well as the Celtics just receiving Daniel Tice. He's a decent player. I don't think it's really gonna be anything big from either one of these teams. Um, now, I did hear through the grapevine, Cantor / Freedom, he may be looking to join the Lakers. Gotta hope not, because he's just another fake tough big man who is just not gonna do anything, and we already have two of those. So let's go ahead and scroll down here. So we got Mavericks. They received Spencer Dinwiddie as well as Davis Bertans. And the Wizards have received Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick. I think that this was obviously a win for the Mavs. So Kristaps Porzingis was just there. He's super inconsistent, injury prone. And they wasted a lot on him. Luckily, they got Luka, and he's been panning out quite well. But they did receive Spencer Dinwiddie, who does not want to take that second fiddle role for some reason. And he's always been like a decent enough player to make some sort of change. But we'll see how this goes. But Kristaps Porzingis went to a team that's not even in like some sort of championship like contending, as well as playing with Bradley Beal, who may not be there that much longer. So yeah, pretty much I think that like the Mavs really won this, and if Spencer Dinwiddie does accept his role, then I think that'd be pretty solid. Small trade here. Wizards received some cash for Holiday. That's really it. Nothing really there. Hornets have received Montrezl Harrell. Washington received Vernon Carey and Ish Smith. Montrezl Harrell, he's a good rebounder, a good defensive player, and a pretty good big body. Charlotte doesn't need that. I think that they need a reliable shooter, someone who can space the floor with LaMelo Ball and can't think of his name at the moment, but he's a rapper. I can't think of his name. Anyway, I just think that Montrezl Harrell will just be doing the same thing that he has been doing, which is a good pickup. I hate that they lost Ish Smith because he's a very athletic, as far as a fast guard who could get you up the court, run that offense quickly. Same thing with Vernon Carey. So only time will tell with this trade, but we will see with that one as well. The Suns, they received Torrey Craig for Jalen Smith and a future second-round pick. Not really much going on here. Craig averaged 7.2 points a game last season, and Jalen Smith is averaging 4 points a game this season. So not really a huge trade here. I think it's more for cap space. Josh Richardson from the Celtics to the Spurs, and then Derek White to the Celtics. Pretty decent. I think that this is a very even trade. I don't think anyone really got better from this trade. Um, we were, I feel like we were expecting more from Josh Richardson, especially how he played on the Heat a couple seasons ago, but he's not really doing what he should be doing, I feel like, and I don't think this is really going to change either one of these teams. Nope. Okay, here's the most important trade here. Pretty much, James Harden went to the 76ers as well as Paul Millsap, and the Brooklyn Nets received Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. Um, Brooklyn got a steal here, man. A toxic person such as James Harden for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. Um, Ben Simmons is just gonna overall let Kyrie Irving be Kyrie Irving. He doesn't have to be the facilitator anymore, since we have a Ben Simmons. And then it's just gonna add length to their starting squad, as well as having Kevin Durant as well, who is length. Seth Curry, great shooter. Just gonna overall just space the floor. They just got even more deep, man. Drummond, last year when he played for the Lakers, he really wasn't really doing anything, but we'll see how he does with the Nets. But I think that this is going to be very interesting for the Nets, and I think that the Nets won this. Now, the 76ers, they got James Harden and Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap is a solid veteran who has always done well. So that's always good to have on your team. James Harden, he is a wild card. It depends on how he works with Joel Embiid, especially since like Joel Embiid is one of those more vocal players. Now James Harden will have to play more of a point guard role on the 76ers. He has to get Joel Embiid involved. He has to get like Tobias Harris involved. And I'm wondering how like the James Harden and Doc Rivers situation will be, because James Harden is also, well, he just left 2 other teams. He just forced himself out of Houston and he forced himself out of Brooklyn. So we'll see how this goes. And he's pretty much slowing down as well. He's not at his old James Harden self. So I think it'll be very interesting. But I personally think that the Nets won this trade quite a bit. Even if Ben Simmons doesn't play as well as he should, they still scored a shooter and a solid rebounder and finisher with DeAndre Drummond, who actually plays like DeAndre Jordan, but I think that Andre Drummond is better, and we'll see. Not much here either. Boston, they received a future second round pick, and the Magic got Bol Bol, PJ Dowser, and a future second round pick and some cash money. So Bol Bol, he's super inconsistent. He has potential, but I don't think that's really gonna grow with the Magic, because the Magic is honestly garbage. And like the 70s, and then like the Celtics really just got a second round pick, so not really much to change there. This has another pretty big trade here. So the Toronto Raptors have received Fat Young, Drew Ebanks, and a 22 second rounder from Detroit. And the San Antonio Spurs have received Gordon Dragic and a protected 2022 perfect first round pick. I understand why they got rid of Goran Dragic. They didn't need another point guard, especially since they have the thick boy himself. Oh wait, no, my mistake. That was a completely different time period. So they have Fred VanVleet, and I don't think they needed Goran Dragic, so they did end up waiving Drew Ebanks. I was finna talk about Kyle Lowry, but he's on the Heat, so don't even mind that. But we'll see with the San Antonio Spurs. They have really been struggling, and he hasn't really played since November the 13th. He stepped away due to personal reasons, so We'll see if he even plays, but Toronto really got Thad Young and Drew Ebanks really just because. So, well, pretty much just to get like Gordon Dragic off of the payroll, pretty much. Um, four team trade here. So the Pistons received received Marvin Bagley of the third, who was just a rebounder. He was supposed to be better than he is, but he's not. So whatever. The Clippers they received Rodney Hood and Simi Ojeley. Um, Rodney Hood, he's a decent shooter. I don't really know much about Simi Ojeley. So yeah, whatever. All right. So the Kings got Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Jackson, Trey Lyles, and I think that a coin toss with the Milwaukee Bucks is Serge Ibaka. Serge Ibaka has always been a good like defender as well as a good person to really catch lobs. Now, if he has some juice in the tank, then this is a really good pickup, especially since Brook Lopez has been away. But they get Serge Ibaka, two future second round picks and some cash money. So I personally think it was definitely the Milwaukee Bucks that won this trade if Serge Ibaka does have a little bit of juice in the tank. And Marvin Bagley definitely did get screwed, but he hasn't been playing well, so definitely do just get rid of him. And the Sacramento Kings, I honestly don't even really want to talk about them because they actually trolled with their trade earlier. So whatever. That's Miami Heat. A 2026 second round pick for KZ Okpala. He's averaging 3.7, not really doing anything. That one's just a whatever trade, in my opinion, for some cap space. Portland Trailblazers. They received Joe Ingles, who is currently hurt, Elijah Hughes, and the Spurs received Thomas Sanderansky and a 2027 second round pick, and the Utah Jazz have received these dudes. I didn't like how they did Joe Ingles. He has always been a good, solid player for the Jazz, but he tore his ACL last month, and since he's been out, then they just hit him with the it's business, and I think that was sort of scummy, in my opinion. But if Joe Ingles even comes back to half his skill, then I think it'll be a pretty good pickup for the Trailblazers because they do need some help. So I think this is a pretty decent trade. All right, now here's the trade that I was talking about the Sacramento Kings. They received Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, and a protected 2023 second round pick for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. Why? Because Halliburton was there for the grind. He said he is ready to change this, as well as like Buddy Hield. He is a great shooter. He is streaky at sometimes, but they just traded him away for Jeremy Lamb, who hasn't lived up to his expectation. Justin Holiday, who is not as good as his brother, and just a protected pick. And they really only got like Domantas Sabonis, who, in my opinion, he's a good player. But I do believe his stats are somewhat inflated because who else is on like the Pacers? And I think it'll be interesting to see how Darren Fox and him really work together. But I don't think that it's really going to be that huge of a change with the Kings. And notice how I'm not really talking about like Tristan Thompson. He is honestly dog shit. He is just a rebounder who can't even get no rebounds no more washed player in my opinion. Here's the other big trade. The Trailblazers have received Josh Hart, Thomas Satoransky, this dude, Didi Lorizia, and a protected 2022 first round pick and 2 future second round picks. And like the Pelicans have received CJ McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony Snell, the infamous Tony Snell, who just did cardio for 22 minutes. Definitely one of the legendaries. Definitely one of like the legendary stat lines. But the Pelicans, I think that they came out with a steal with CJ McCollum. He's just an overall great player. Once Fat Boy comes back to Zion Williams, I think it'll be interesting. Larry Nance Jr., just an athletic guy, really not doing nothing either. Josh Hart, who's a good like a rebounding guard, but that's really all. He's pretty inconsistent as well. Thomas Satoransky, also solid, but we'll see, man. Once Fat Boy comes back, we'll see how that does. But I think, actually just going back here, I think if it works out, then I think that the Pelicans won this trade here. Cleveland Cavaliers received Caris LeVert and a 2022 second round pick. And the Pacers have received Ricky Rubio and a protected 2022 first round draft pick and 2 2022 second round picks via Houston and Utah. Caris LeVert, definitely one of those slept on guards, and with this young team in Cleveland, I think he's just a really good pickup. And I think this Cleveland team is very, very interesting. I do want to do a quick little video on them at some point, but it's very, very interesting with that team. But I personally think that that like the Cavs won the trade, in my opinion. And that's pretty much everything, man. Just some, I think, teams that overall got better. Just real quick, because this is going to be a long video. I think that the teams that got better were Dallas, because Kristaps Porzingis is just an extra player who's always injured. The Nets, they got rid of a toxic player in James Harden. And the Pacers, I think just from getting a young player who is balling, who can play, as well as a shooter like Buddy Hield, I think they just overall just improved that team. Pelicans, adding CJ McCollum is just great to just add. That's any team. He's just a great player as well. And I think Cleveland got better with Caris LeVert. That's pretty much everything, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Definitely watch my sports playlist. That's going to be at the end of the video. And also, I'm going to be doing some more shorts, so definitely do watch those as well. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.